for my medical school like classes, and a lot of like the molecular cellular biology classes, upper levels as well, like will cover like genetics and like cell biology and things like that, which does prepare you well for medical school. And so I think that's also why a lot of people take it. But Hopkins is pretty interdisciplinary. So when you do get to the upper levels, like even if you choose like MCB, you will be able to take like a lot of the neuroscience classes, the behavioral biology classes. They're all very interconnected in that way, which is also nice. So you can explore your different interests through that.
Does anyone else want to add on, or is that it?
Okay, so basically at U of T, life science isn't like a subject of study. You first go into life sci and it's very like general for your first year. And then somewhere in March or April, you kind of apply for a subject of study, which is like more specific. And this kind of like determines the courses you're going to take for like your second, third, and fourth year. And I basically chose life science as a program because it's a very general program at first. And I feel like a lot of people go into university and they're so inclined to go to a program that's very specific because they feel like, oh, it'll help me a lot. And you already kind of know what courses you're going to take for the next 4 years. But also, I feel like a lot of people, in my personal experience, I wasn't really sure what I was gonna enjoy or what specific program I wanted to go into. So I picked life science because it's more general and I could kind of get a feel of my program before deciding what specific area I want to go to for my second, third, and fourth year.
Okay, thanks for that. I just wanted to mention to all the participants, if you guys have any questions, you can just put it in the chat and we can go through that. For now, I'll just go to the next question. Is there any like extracurriculars for high school students that helped you like understand topics within science or helped you like develop interest in it? Captain, do you want to start us off?
I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I think my ECs in high school were kind of more general. I don't know if I did anything that was specifically science related. I know that I did a lot of like first aid related stuff, which just kind of, I guess, told me that I have a general interest, but I feel that's like, I don't know if that actually answers the question. I know that
Don't worry.
opportunities do exist. I know that some of my friends had just like research related extracurriculars that were obviously like more more science related, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know about me.
I can speak to a little bit about like research in high school. Because I did do research in high school. I worked at um, a neuroscience lab at U of T for grade 11 and grade 12 of my high school career. I will say, like, I think it's like definitely not necessary for you to be doing research at such a young age. Like, if that's not something you're interested in, if the opportunity doesn't present itself, like, don't feel like you like will be behind if you don't do research, or like just because you don't do research, like you won't get into a specific school. I will say that doing the research at U of T really did help me. Not only was it just like meeting like professors and like graduate students that really like opened my worldview, and just like being able to talk to them was just like a very great opportunity in itself, to learn about the field of science, like what academia is, and to like understand like how research works, like how science works, which was really cool. I will say that like coming into university, I like even though I did do research, like it was basically like big data, like analyzing data, things like that. When I came into like university, I started at a wet lab, which was like completely two different things. So like even though I did do research, it really didn't help me in the end in university. So like don't feel like you're behind at all just because like some of your classmates may have done research. Um, yeah, I think like I did like a lot of research, and I also like volunteered at the hospital. And I think like doing these like science type of extracurriculars, mostly it's like you're not really going to be learning a lot in terms of like the science background, but it's really good to get a general idea of like what these people, like these professionals do in the workplace. So whether it's like volunteering at a hospital, getting to talk to doctors and getting to talk to nurses and understanding like, oh, this is what you do, and like this is like career path I can see myself doing. Or it's like talking to your PI and talking to like graduate students, like understanding what they're doing and like just broadening your worldview and like being able to like connect with all these like different professionals is a really like beneficial thing to do as a high schooler, just like trying to figure out what you want to do in the future.
Yeah, I can go next. So in high school, I also did some research, but I think the extracurricular that really helped me get more involved in learning about science was this competition. I'm not sure if it exists in Canada, but in the US, it's called Science Olympiad. So essentially, you work in groups and you tackle various science-related questions through a competition style format. And then you really delve deeply into that topic. And so for me, that was how I learned about a lot of the more advanced biology concepts that aren't really covered in school. And that's kind of what sparked my interest in going into the life sciences. So I think I would highly recommend students who are interested in competitions to pursue them. I think they also not only teach you how to work hard and how to better learn material, but also form good communities with people. I think we had a pretty tight-knit competition community at our high school. Um, but yeah, I think on top of that, research is also a really great experience for students to have. I don't think you need to be having like super intense research experiences in high school, but I think it's cool to either like shadow someone in a lab or even learn basic data analysis skills. Those can take you very far, especially in college.
Thanks for that. Does anyone else have anything to add, or are we good? Okay, I'm gonna go to the next question and I'm gonna pass it on to Tiana.
I'm another host for this breakout room. So actually just a follow-up question kind of regarding the extracurricular. So maybe perhaps I guess we can talk about like even if it's not like specifically regarding kind of lifestyle health side, how did you feel like your extracurricular helped you in terms like in university? So like generally speaking, kind of like what extracurricular, like how did it help in university or like application?
I can go first for this question. Sorry, my voice is a little bad just because I'm recovering from a cold. But I personally didn't do a lot of science-based research or clubs in high school. Most of the things I did was sports related or student council related. But I found this still was very beneficial in extracurriculars here at Queen's and research, as I think it's great to focus on the qualities that you develop from your extracurriculars, no matter what they are. So, I'm so sorry. So, for example, like Queen's Health Science, for a lot of club applications, there's a lot of different roles. So, I became a lot of part of a lot of different science related clubs through my experience of planning events as logistics coordinator. So that helped me to get involved with a lot of school, a lot of university events here. And so it doesn't really have to be science related, but just being able to develop qualities such as leadership or teamwork from whatever interest you have is very beneficial.
Awesome, thank you. Any other speaker would like to share about their experience?
Maybe, actually, you can go first. Sorry. Okay. Okay, sure. Um, I know for my program for ISI, they like a very big part of the program is just group work, and there's a lot of group research projects. And I know when they like look through applications, there's questions that are specifically about your group work experience. So just having extracurriculars, even if it's like not that crazy, like it was like stuff in school clubs, just in general, working with other people, doing group work, like understanding what it takes to be a like good at group work, what it takes to be like an effective communicator, stuff like that, what I think was like important for my application, but also just in general, even like in applying it here, I think it was very helpful just having done group work in the past.
For me, I also wasn't in kind of like the typical science extracurriculars. I was more in I guess social justice related clubs like Eco Club, IFC, things like that. But I would say one thing where extracurriculars would really help you is that a lot of university is just socializing. You'll socialize with people in your program, you'll socialize with your TAs, some program coordinators at points, your academic counselors, and also your profs. So I feel like taking part in extracurriculars does help you get to a point where you're kind of comfortable going up to like people and also just starting conversations with them. I feel like university is a place where you're not going to just make connections with higher ups naturally. You're obviously going to make connections with other students very naturally. But when it comes to like things like profs and TAs, you kind of have to take the liberty for that. And being in extracurriculars really helps with that.
I can also add that I didn't really do that many like science related extracurriculars in my high school. I did a lot of arts and like dance and public service, and I think like it's like you don't have to have like a super science oriented extracurricular if you want to apply to like a life sciences program. Um, for example, I did outreach for a lot of the positions I was in. And it's really useful in a lot of different clubs here at Harvard where you want to outreach to sponsors. I did a lot of graphic design as well, so that's also really useful for a lot of clubs. Um, and like just doing an extracurricular that I think you really want to invest your time into when you write that on an application, like your love for said extracurricular will come through rather than you forcing yourself to do like a science extracurricular that you might not like as much. So I think really just try to find one that you really enjoy, whether it be science or another one.
Okay, thank you for all the responses for that question. And I see one in the chat. It's what are some exciting areas of health research right now, and how can students get involved with them? Nafisa, do you want to start us off?
Actually, I'm not sure about this topic because I didn't really do typical like science extracurriculars, and I don't really do them even now. So I don't think I can answer this question that much. Sorry about that.
No worries. Does anyone else have anything to add to that? Or
Yeah, I can go for this one. So in university, a lot of research is you can usually just do it through contacting professors on your own. And it does, as a first year, it can be hard to find it because most times professors usually prefer upper years. But it mostly is like all my friends, everyone I know who has a research position, they all just did it through emailing a lot of professors, just searching up different professors and researching areas that they're interested in and just emailing them on their own, saying, just sending them what they're interested in, why they'd like to research. And it does, you likely do have to send a lot of emails, but if you keep trying, there's like a high chance that you will get a research position. And specifically for Queen's Health Science, there actually are courses that you can take and get credits for that is just doing a research project with a professor. You still have to do the work to find a professor or a researcher on your own, but they do have a whole set of staff that are there to help you with it by telling you what professors or what researchers are looking for people or are doing research. So that is just one way that's just the biggest way to get research experience.
Okay, thank you for that. Tiana, do you want to ask the next question?
Yeah. So I received some question in DM. And soon asked, how do you manage the heavy workload and extensive studying if you have a lot of extracurriculars in high school? It's just talking about having very little time to study since they participate in a lot of clubs. So perhaps how to balance the extracurricular and academics? Like any tips from when you were in high school?
Oh, I think I can help to answer this. So about like managing extracurriculars and stuff, like you have to like look into your university and really look into like let's say what apps are popular among the students. Like for example, like in my university, like GroupMe is very popular. So like you can try to like join the GroupMe's for your classes, and that will help you a lot to like keep on top of your work. I found, and also like try organizing like study groups and stuff. It's kind of a little bit of socializing, but like really you do get your work done like that. So like that helps a lot in my experience.
Yeah, I think I can add something also. I think maybe just I don't know, sometimes it's important to remember that um like to keep your priorities straight and to not really like overcommit yourself. I don't know, to just choose the extracurricular stuff that you're really passionate about, that you care about. Um, like for the most part, school should be more important anyways. So if you really feel like you don't have enough time to do your schoolwork, then maybe you've gone a little bit over the top.
So I guess you would all agree that at the end of the day, it would be the quality over your quantity. Okay, so that's, I guess, also relating to our next two questions I'll ask together because they're all about emissions, similarly. One is, do you think that if emission officers have any preference from like one extracurricular over the other, such as like certain competition like achievements, um, if they prefer one over the other, as well as kind of like when you're applying, how do you like when you're showing these extracurriculars, if there's any tips for writing your sub app? I know it has been talked about in the main room already, but if any of you want to share.
Yeah, I can comment on this one. So I think when you're writing about your ECs, especially for a university that's, it's going through many applications every day and they see like a bunch of people talking about very similar concepts, it's important to be able to stand out in your ECs and as well make things quantitative. So you don't just say, I did a lot of this or I worked in this. You put, I did a certain amount of hours in this or I raised this amount of funds. So in that way, you're not just giving them abstract amounts and like an idea in their head, you're giving them a quantitative goal that you set and that you achieved. So it's really important, number one, to keep it unique, and then number two, to make it quantitative and easy for them to visualize what you achieved.
Hey, if you can talk about, I think the student want to ask more specifically for Queen's Health side, how do you kind of write the sub app? So if you want to address it.
Yeah, I think that it's the same advice to what Joseph says, where it's a lot, it doesn't really matter exactly what you do, as in terms of if you do science related things or contests. But if there's something that you've done that you're passionate about and that has allowed you to make a positive impact on something, being able to write about that in detail and be able to make it personalized to you and how um, and use it to both show who you are as a person and how you've been able to make an impact on a community or other places. I think that is one of the biggest benefits, just making it personalized to you and specific.
Awesome. Stephanie, I think I saw you unmuting for a second, so perhaps you have something you want to share.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, one important, I guess I'm obviously not an admissions officer, so I don't really know what they're looking for. But one thing that I think helps when trying to structure your supplemental essays is to kind of have some themes upon which you want to focus your entire application on. So if I guess service is one of your themes, then you should really try to hammer that home in your supplemental essays. Or for example, if research is one of your themes, then you want to really emphasize that in your essays as well. I think just like brainstorming some of the themes that you want your application to embody, and then trying your best to weave those within your within your essays could be really helpful in at least forming a good impression or forming a lasting impression for the admissions officers. And I think like trying to organize your extracurriculars in one of those themes as well could also be really helpful.
Thank you so much. Um, I think we have time for one more question. So if anyone wants to ask, if not, we can ask kind of like another question.
Hi. So I guess this is a bit more like focused question. It's for like Joseph for like McMaster Health Sci. Could you talk more about the application process, what we could write about to make ourselves stand out? Just like in general, if you could give any advice.
Okay. So yeah, that's a great question. And I think I hear it a lot from people who are coming up and rising seniors. Advice that I would give to you is that people focus so much about, trying to write the perfect story and trying to create this like imaginary fiction that doesn't exist and creating exactly what the person wants to hear on the other end of or admissions officer. My key advice is that there is no such thing and that doesn't exist. And there's only you and your experiences and the admissions officer and their experiences. I have to say it does come down a bit to luck and chance, but I would say 80% of it is your hard work and what you can write on that supplementary essay. Your grades are definitely very important, so make sure that you attain the highest grades possible, and that will definitely help you. But regarding the supplementary application, that's probably 70% of what will get you into McMaster. So you really have to make a story that's unique, as I said before, and something that's quantitative that they can measure, and be able to show that you're not just writing an essay for them, but you're kind of just reflecting on your own. And if you are able to reflect on your own experiences and activities that you did and how that affected you and how you're a better person because of it, that will shine right through, and the admissions officers will see that, and you'll have a really good chance of getting in.
So can we talk about like the volunteer work we've done and like how many volunteer hours like specifically in high school?
So volunteering definitely is an aspect of your application. And like I was speaking to my classmates about this, obviously, when I joined the program, but they spoke about various different things. There was really no one genre or concept that everyone had in common that they nailed home on the essay. So it's various things. Volunteering definitely can be that thing, but you have to show not only that you did the volunteering, but what impact did that have on you? And how did volunteering make you a better person? And why were you motivated to do this volunteering? So again, it's a lot of reflection and not just talking about the action itself, but what the outcomes of that action were.
Thanks.
For sure, no problem.
So our breakout room would end at 8:10, so maybe we would like to wrap up the room as of now. I see there's still some questions in the chat, and perhaps we'll try to reach out to our speakers about these questions and they can have an answer for you. Thank you so much for sharing everything from your experience, your high school experience, to honestly helping us to not stress so much about the application process. That was really insightful, and really thank you a lot for sharing that experience and taking your time here. And I guess if you don't mind leaving your contact info in the chat, I think it would be also helpful for some students who want to reach out about specific, I know there's about U of T programs that they want to ask about. So if you don't mind leaving the contact in the chat, that would be great. Thank you so much. So I believe the breakout room is closed right now. So if we want, we can head back to the main room, but I believe that should be it.
Okay, so I believe most of us are back from the breakout room. So first of all, I just want to thank all the panelists again for your time. And so thank you so much. And then if you're comfortable, please feel free to leave your contact information in the chat if you haven't already, so that other participants can ask you questions if they still have some. And so for participants, also feel free to follow our Instagram at Superposition Toronto. And that's basically it. So thank you so much for all your time and have a good night.
I think someone in the chat asked where they can access the recorded video.
We're gonna post it on YouTube, and yep, as Victoria said, it will be at Superposition Toronto on YouTube, and you can check out the video then.